Welcome, welcome. Season 3, Mary.
I can't believe it.
Season 3,
Ah.
slam number 1 of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Are we syndicated? You're probably wondering. Not yet.
Not yet.
Are we being picked up by NPR? Not yet.
Soon.
Not yet. Other major chains. I don't even know how those networks work. Maybe, right?
I think we should dream big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I should get my shit together before I dream that big, though. Right?
I don't know. Do you have to?
Like, I should probably figure out Eventbrite a little better before I dream that big. Honestly.
First time out of the gate, there's always, kinks.
Yep.
That's
Hey,
all.
you know what? We've got 37, and we will have a few more that are coming in. We're going to wait. It's now 7:02.
Right. We never start on time.
We're not going to, it's intentional.
It
We're
is.
going to wait to pick our first names from the hat to at latest 7:10, because people will come in a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
They will make demands.
They do.
They will expect. Now, I'm going to ask everybody to mute yourselves. I could also do it for you, but that's a little aggressive, frankly. And I want to just thank you all for being here. Nothing fancy. If you know me, if you know Mary, we don't do fancy very well, do we? Do you?
Not usually.
I should speak for myself, probably.
No, not usually.
I'm not a fancy man.
No, you're fine. We're no offense here, Sean.
Right. I'm not like the opposite of fancy, but I'm by no means fancy. My point being, what we emphasize here are just gritty, awesome tellers with 99-second stories that keep getting better and better. That's what we bring.
It's true. It's true.
I mean,
and that's
you're bringing the looks. I'm bringing what? What am I bringing here?
Listen, you're the ringmaster, my friend.
I'm not a master.
You're the ringmaster.
Howard Lieberman, if you are here, identify yourself. You are teller. The only teller who's not here, which is fine, because right now 16 is the perfect number. Nothing wrong with 17. It's just not as perfect. Those of you who have been here before, who have either told a story or watched this, thank you again for your support, for showing up, for listening to our tellers. I appreciate it. Mary, how do you feel? You've been doing this. We've been doing this together now since, like, what is it? Early fall?
Yeah.
What's your take on this whole game?
I'm always amazed at how everybody brings like amazing stories. Just the level and the skills that come here every time just keep going up. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah. Right. It looks a little bit easier, like a lot of crafts, right? Like if you're watching comedy or any type of story, it looks maybe easy, but man, it's not.
It's not. Especially 99 seconds. No.
It might be harder in some respects than other kinds. I don't know for sure. Just so you all know, if you're here in the Zoom room, you're going to vote. And I'll go over that more in a moment. And so if you're hearing this, this probably doesn't pertain to you, but you might know somebody within the GRIT group. It's a Facebook group. We're also live, which means if you're here and you don't want your face to be shown at all on Facebook Live, then you can go to the top right of your picture, and you have a few different things you can do, including stopping your video. I encourage you to keep it on, but that's an option if you're a little bit like, nah, I don't want people to see my face, right? And we're going to ask that everybody, other than the storytellers, when they're telling their stories, to stay muted until the end. And that is when we're going to have a little rave tonight. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to get crazy.
All right. I like crazy.
Yeah.
It's usually my problem.
Yeah. Now, you keep on letting folks in. I'm glad that we have the people who are here, and I thank you. And I know that you are waiting patiently to either tell or to watch these tellers, and we're going to get officially started in about 4 minutes. And I'm going to explain to you exactly what this night is going to look like. But I think the most important thing is where my hat's from. Can we go over? Do they know?
I don't know
Have
if
we,
everybody knows, Sean.
have we had this conversation?
I don't know if everybody cares also. I just
They don't
want
give a
to,
shit.
no,
Yeah, no, I don't know.
it's just,
Just let's just say that the capital is Lima. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get into it.
I just want to know if they had a run that day on hats. That's,
That
like,
is, well,
yeah, because it seems like 2 for 1
yeah,
thing.
probably.
Probably.
Why would I get a normally priced hat?
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
because, there's a theme of Peru hats. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was in Peru for 6 weeks. Anyway, so all right. So we are. My name is Sean. I'm in North Carolina. Helping me this evening is Queen Mary. Mary.
Hello, everyone.
Location.
Boston, Massachusetts.
All right. So we're covering the East Coast, but we got people from several different time zones here.
Yes.
I don't have that much to say to anybody really, other than some basic stuff. Most of you probably know how Zoom works. It's been 10 months of this stuff, but just in case, you have some controls, and you can find most of those controls either at the top right part of your photograph or your picture. And depending, it's going to vary if you're on a phone or a laptop. You've got that view, speaker, or gallery. So we have a few minutes now if you want to play around with that and see what you how you want to experience this evening. It'll probably be about 90 minutes until we're done. It's going to be fun. We're going to have 2 rounds. In round number 1, we have 16 or maybe 17 tellers. They're going to be divided up into 4 sections. They don't know where they are right now. The names will come out of the hat from Peru. Yes, I will be saying the word Peru several more times before the evening's over.
Please
I
don't
promise you that.
Don't let us down, Sean.
After the 4th teller, or when that section is done, Queen Mary will summarize. You, the audience, and the tellers will vote. All right. So what I would recommend is, as the tellers tell their stories, whatever you need to do to figure out, I kind of like this person's story the most. So that when Mary summarizes, it's just sort of confirmation. Yep, I'm going to vote for this person.
Mm-hmm.
After that round, we will have the winners from each section, and there will be a second round. And then there will be a winner of that round. So the audience, you will be voting, I believe, if my math is correct, a total of 5 times.
Yes.
It'll make sense as we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, today we did something a little bit different. First is first, right? Winners are winners.
Yeah, true.
And non-winners are
still winners because they participated.
Sure, it's 2021. They're still winners, absolutely. But first and second are getting a cash prize.
Woo!
So maybe we should announce second place today as well.
Terrific.
We usually don't.
We don't, but we are
keep
today.
this very private, locked up. Let Howard in. He's here.
I got him.
Richard, we do have some comments. And by the way, I'm seeing Richard Munchkin's "I want a participation trophy" comment. I will ignore that. However, I will add that you can use this chat function, given that we are mostly muted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, most people know how this works, but you can send it to everybody or to a particular person.
Yes.
And that's a nice way that the tellers can see, because it is tricky when you're telling a story here. And you don't get any, you can't hear people, right? You might hear me or you making a sound, but they don't get the typical response they might like. No. Chat is a way to do that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, you let the final few folks in. Are going to draw names in a moment.
Yes.
My final words before pulling out the first name is this. These are 99-second stories maximum. So if this person goes over time, Mary will not be reading their summaries, and you won't have an option to vote for them. This is just how we're playing hardball, right?
When we usually don't, but this one we are.
This isn't slow pitch softball, which I love, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's hardball.
Yeah.
If the teller is not telling a true story, or it's not a personal story, or they're reading, we're not going to DQ them, but I'm going to ask you to not vote for them. Mm-hmm. We've all made this agreement, right? True stories, personal stories, no notes.
No notes.
Can you get away with it and read notes? Sure. But if someone's clearly reading, let us reward those who are playing by the rules we've accepted. Fair?
Amen.
Mary, did I cover everything, or I think I'm good?
I think you covered everything, Sean.
I think we did. And you know what? If I didn't, it'll come up, and then
We'll cover it.
So thank you
You
all for
didn't,
being here.
you didn't cover how many people in the second round.
Yeah. So we've got 5 to 6 people. We will have. Thank you, Richard. 4 winners in total, right? Audience voted, and then 1 to 2 judges wildcard type voting. Just varies, man. Got to play a game a little bit. The tellers, this is the only other thing, and then I'm going to get going here because it's after 7:10, so I'm not being honest with my people. This is what you will see at 80 seconds. 80 seconds. Doesn't mean you have to immediately wrap it up, but you know. All right. And if it ends up being this, it still means 80 seconds. Okay. That like doesn't mean you have right. Okay. Teller number 1, let us roll. Audience, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And let us have a good slam 1 of season 3. You ready? You ready, Mary?
Woo!
All right, let's do it. All right, number 1, live from Massachusetts, Mark Modral. Mark, I'm going to spotlight you. You take your time. Have some fun.
The pilot asks, so which of you is going to do this rescue? And I'll be honest, my first thought is, this is so cool. But the second thought is, I'm not a big guy. I screwed this up. Mike's dead. So I push the gear to Eric, and Eric says, you better do it, man. The hypothermia. I thought he was speaking French. I'm 17. I'm on this outward bound kind of trip, canoeing across the Arctic. And one day, things just go horribly wrong. We're 400 miles from the nearest town. 1 of 2 canoes is busted. We lost our gear, 1/3 of our food. The leader washed up on the far shore, and Mike washed up on a rock in the middle of the river. And out of the blue, this helicopter just flies overhead. The pilot tells me I'm supposed to tie the rope around my waist, and I wrap it around, but he takes off too fast. I've just got it like wrapped around my right wrist. So I just grab on and up I go. I'm like 20, 30, 40 feet in the air, hold up by my right wrist. And he takes me out to Mike's rock, and Mike's hypothermia, it looks like an epileptic seizure. And he's flailing and he's kicking, and I get my left arm around his waist, and up we go. We're 40 feet in the air. I'm held up by my right wrist. Mike's held up by a hug. And the seizure didn't stop. Boom.
All right, Mark. What do you think of that, Mary, to start us off? Not bad, huh?
You know, people come out of the gate fast, I'll tell you.
Every time, faster and
yeah.
faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
Faster and faster. Mark is in Massachusetts, by the way. Nobody really wants to have the, oh, how's the weather up in Massachusetts conversation. But boy, oh boy, I do hear it sucks.
Oh, it's gross. It's just gross.
It's gross, right?
It's gross.
North Carolina is like 48.
Yeah, we're like 28.
Yeah. But you knew that when you moved there.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here. This is our winter. I get it. I can still complain about it, though.
Absolutely. Storyteller number 2. Hang on one sec. We have a question here. All right. Make sure everybody's muted, please. Do we have anybody who's not muted? If you would, please mute yourselves, just to make sure that we don't have any background noise. Storyteller number 2 is James. I believe he's here. Let me find James. And we will spotlight James. There he is.
And my mute is off. You can hear me?
Absolutely. Take your time, James.
I'm driving down the backbone of the Colorado Rockies, and I see a sign, Central City, the richest square mile on earth. I've never heard of this place. I pull off, and it's a small town, 3 streets of pretty well-established buildings in brick and stone, a bank, a town hall, and an opera house. I find a diner, and I go in and talk to the waitress. What should I see here? She said, go to the end of the road turn right and go up the hill. There are 3 or 4 cemeteries that are worth seeing. The inscriptions alone are fascinating. I do, she instructed, and find myself on the high Colorado plateau. There's a single iron arched gate that says Central City Cemetery, no walls. I walk through on a path up a hillside and find a graveyard, untended. The stones are stained, cracked, and askew, but I see what the waitress wanted me to see. First, all of the men buried there died at about my age, in the mid 30s to 40s. And they did not do the normal graveyard of dates. They counted their days. Matthew, 38 years, 3 months, 2 days. Wife, Martha, 28, 2 months, 1 day. Child, Mark, 11 days. These people counted their time on earth.
Muted now. I'm so concerned about muting myself that I'm sometimes trying to speak whilst muted, Queen Mary. James is in Chicago area. Thank you, James. Our third, so we got to move this, right? When you have 17 storytellers, you got to keep things
Keep moving
moving.
on along.
At 80 seconds. And
Got through you.
All right, number 3. We have 2 Bobs here this evening. This Bob is in Las Vegas. He's a dancing man. That probably doesn't have anything to do with this story, but I can't say for sure. Let me find you, Bob. There you are. Let me spotlight you. Take your time.
Is my volume okay? I'm just getting my clock ready.
Great.
Sounds good, Bob.
Thank you. For my birthday this week, I got 2 jars of 13 ounces imported French preserves. Came from Trace and Lindsay. Now, this is a nice present, but frankly, in our house, this is going to go into the pantry and stay there for a few months or years or however long. Now, although, because my mom raised me right, I said, thank you. This is nice. It happens 4 days later, the lady across the street having a 90-year-old birthday. Bonnie's known her for 30 years. Of course she's going. She has no idea what to take. I suggest, how about 2 jars of 13-ounce imported French preserves? Comes in a nice gift bag. Wouldn't that be perfect? Bonnie goes, great. My problems are solved. Thank you. I'm ready to go. I was going, Bonnie, wait. Put the bag down. Take out the jars. Look, is there anything else in the bag? She goes, oh yeah, there's this card that says, to Bob, love, Trace and Lindsay. Thank you for saving me from this senior moment. I'm going, you know, we should have told them that we wanted chocolate chip cookies instead of preserves. Bonnie says, you're being ungrateful, Bob. This is no good. Don't tell them. It would embarrass me if they know. And I go, okay, I won't tell them. And then it hits me. I made a bigger senior moment that Bonnie almost did. Trace and Lindsay are here in the audience today. Boing.
Bob getting
Okay.
meta. Bob Dancer getting meta. Bob is in Las Vegas, by the way, Mary.
Oh, nice.
What that means is we've had Mark in Massachusetts, James in Illinois, Bob in Nevada. We've got 3 people. We've got 3 states, which I just love the diversity.
I do too.
That said, all white men, but hey, we are covering a lot of geography.
Yes. And we couldn't do this, you know, unless we were on Zoom.
Nothing wrong with a white man. I mean, I'm white. Just saying.
Oh, Mary Jo said 3 time zones. Yes.
3 time zones. And we got our 4th of 4 tellers for this first section, right?
Who's closing us out?
And remember, after this one, Mary will summarize and you will vote. And if anybody went over, we're gonna say you went over, and your name's not going to be called. There will not be a summary, And I hate doing it, but if it
I
has
do
to
too.
happen, it has to happen. Teller number 4 is going to be Andrew Shelfo, back to Massachusetts.
Mass.
Andrew's got to unmute himself, and then I will spotlight him, and he will take his time and have some fun.
Oh, we gotta have fun?
No.
Okay.
Or
Just
have
wanted
to.
to- The other day I walked into my office and I saw something on my otherwise clean desk that made me rethink my relationship with raisins. That thing was a raisin. And it made me wonder, what are the raisins up to? Now, raisins are all around us, of course, and they never really threaten us very much. I mean, it's not like they're kale or pumpkin spice, you know, these things that kind of force their way into other food groups. I mean, if pumpkin spice were a country, it would be like Russia, constantly looking for the next food group to invade. If raisins were a country, they would be more like, I don't know, Belgium. They'd be looking for ways to make chocolate taste better. But it didn't really get me to where I wanted to be. So I thought, you know what, I'm overthinking this. So I picked up the thing that looked like a raisin on my desk and I tossed it into my mouth. And in the moment that that raisin left my fingers, but before it reached my mouth, a series of questions popped into my head. What if this isn't a raisin? It's only something that looks like a raisin. What's something that could show up on my desk overnight that looks like a raisin? Oh my God, did I just throw a piece of shit in my mouth? Now, we often say to people that we don't like, eat shit and die. But we also say about some people, they had a shit-eating grin on their face. And in the Ultimate Guys movie, Shawshank Redemption, the main guy swims through a river of shit and he comes out clean on the other side. And that was my last thought as this raisiny item hit my mouth. Sometimes you have to risk eating shit in order to find out the truth. Boom.
All right, Queen Mary. So Andrew, I think a couple others said boom. It's not required.
No.
Nobody's forcing anybody to say boom.
No.
It's just what has sort of organically grown when people are done. But
Yeah.
we know when they're done. We've got we had 4 tellers there. Thank you all for going first. You didn't really have much of a choice.
No.
We're gonna Mary's gonna summarize 3 stories. 1 teller went over by a little bit too much. James, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You were over by about 8 seconds. Got to keep it tight. So Mary, would you please read Mark, Bob, and Andrew, and then we'll put that poll up.
You got it. So Mark went on a canoe trip that went wrong and helped rescue somebody. Bob Dancer was going to give someone preserves for their birthday, but then realized that he had some senior moments and it all went wrong. And Andrew was rethinking his relationship about raisins and learned that he might have to eat shit to find out the truth.
All right. So we've got Mark, Bob, and Andrew. Poll number 1, section number 1. And we're going to launch it. And everybody, other than me and Mary,
Yeah.
or Mary and I suppose is grammatically correct, right?
Hey, we don't have to be grammatically correct here.
That you're going to vote. So that means up to 40 people. Please mute yourselves. And here we go. Mark, Bob, and Andrew, section number 1. Hopefully everyone will vote.
Vote, vote, vote. Do
Vote,
it.
vote, vote. Wow, this is super close. I know we always say that, so it probably like people don't believe us when it's really close, but
No,
this is
but
especially close.
it is.
I think we have about upwards of about 8, 9 more people could vote. We'll do it another, let's say 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, I agree.
Encourage these people to vote, Mary. What do we got to do? You want to send them $1 to vote? Should we pay them to vote?
I don't think we have to pay them to vote. It's their duty if they're here to vote.
They don't, I guess the choice to vote is a choice not to vote sometimes, right?
That's true.
You
That's-
can't. All right.
But we encourage it heavily because that's how we roll.
All right. Again, you can use the chat to communicate with the tellers or us. You want to send a message to me or Mary, especially if it's like you're having sort of tech issues or questions.
Yeah.
You can do that. We can multitask, but we do the best we can. I'm
We
going to
do.
end this poll. We do have a winner. Of course, we're not going to tell people what won just yet, right?
No.
Because that would kill the surprise.
Right.
We want people to stay and we
That
want people
too.
to vote.
Mhm.
And yeah, great job, y'all.
Yeah. Thank
Section
you
one
for your
done.
votes. Woos.
Let's keep moving.
Yes. Section 2.
Section number
got
2
Bob.
begins. Section number 2 is going to begin with, he is in New York City, I think. He might have more than one home. His name is Jamie Brickhouse, and he's wearing a red coat.
Yes.
That is me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My older brother, Ronnie, is a proud Texas redneck, a roofer, and worships Neil Diamond. I'm gay, a writer, live in New York City, and listen to show tunes. How we came out of the same womb, I'll never know. But of course, the one thing we do have in common is our mother. And at her funeral, I felt kind of creepy when I took her picture in the coffin, but I needed to possess that last image of her. It was the look on her face. She looked like she was going to open up her eyes any second and say, God, I love you so much. And so it nearly devastated me when a few days later, I left my digital camera. This was before iPhones, in the rental car. I got the camera back, but the photos had been deleted. And it was like another loss. So the next year, I'm down there for the holidays, and I'm worried about Ronnie because he's a Forrest Gump type and a loner. And our mother was his best friend and confidant, and he spent at least one day a week telling her everything about what was going on in his life. So I'm talking to him, and I said, Ronnie, I'm going to go to the cemetery. Have you been? He says, yeah, I go all the time, about once a week. And I talk to Mama, and when I'm talking to her, I know the look she had on her face because I saw her before they put her in the ground. That look, it brought me back to those photos, and I told him what I hadn't told another living soul, what I had done. And he said, I did the same thing. I took pictures of Mom in the coffin too. I've got copies in my glove compartment. I'll give you some if you want them. I was never more stunned than this moment when the rare time that our instincts came together. And when he gave me the photos, he said, you ought to go out to the cemetery and talk to her. She can hear you. And you know what? I took his advice. Boom.
Thank you, Jamie Brickhouse. Sometimes, Mary, I feel like the tellers are saying boom to end the story.
Right.
Sometimes they're almost booming at me or us. You get that sense? Sometimes they're like you.
You. Right. I
It's
do.
directed.
There's aggressive booms. But
It's not. It's fine though. I love that. It's New York. It's Northeasterners are a little different, maybe, right? Maybe we
Sure.
run a little. Who knows? Right?
It's true. I think we can handle the booms.
I don't think it's a big shock that I'm not actually from North Carolina, right,
No,
Mary?
I don't think it's a big shock at all, Sean. Nor Peru.
Not a Peru either.
No.
What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go on gallery. I'm just going to get a good look at all these handsome faces that are either telling a story or came here to support storytellers or the craft itself. I want to thank you again. I really appreciate it. And I can probably speak for the tellers and say they appreciate it too.
Yes.
Mary, you're going to be doing our summarizing our next storyteller. I'm actually not sure. I think she's West Coast.
Shama.
I think she's West Coast. Nishama, I'm going to unmute you. And
I am West Coast. I am West Coast.
West Coast. Take your time.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, there I was on a stage, essentially stark naked except for a G-string. What was I, a mother of toddlers, doing? I was about to do the hippie dance of love. This was the summer of love, and my dance teacher, he also had a couple of toddlers and he needed to turn coin. So he went down to North Beach and pitched the following. He said, you know, the tourists, they want the psychedelic experience, but they're scared of dirty hippies in the hate. So they can sit there clutching their drinks and we'll bring it to them. And that we did. And the only rules were that we were to end up lying right next to each other on this grimy carpeted platform. And we could do improvisational dancing and I could get paid for it. And it was absolutely glorious until the summer of love was over, and so was the hippie dance of love. But I want you to know that when you're looking at an old lady with frizzy gray hair, You have no idea what she's really been up to. Boom.
True that.
True that.
You don't know.
Mm-mm,
Don't know.
mm,
I
mm-mm.
like that these stories are not only good stories, very good stories, but you learn a little bit about our tellers, right? You learn a little bit about their lives or their thoughts or their feelings, and so on. It's one of the joys about this stuff. I've got
True.
to say.
You get to get a peek in.
Mary, why don't you and I craft like 15 99-second stories each and just have the Mary and Sean 99-second extravaganza?
Oh, that would be fun.
You think anyone would come to watch?
No, I know. I think it'd be you and me on a Zoom, but that still, I think it'd be fun.
Fun. Next up,
Hey,
Kate. Let me find you, Kate, and we are going to spotlight you. Where are you? There you are. Hang
I'm
on one
here.
sec, Kate. Yeah, your volume is great. Take your time.
Okay, thank you. When I bought Bessie, my 1956 Buick Special, she was already a classic, one of GM's best designs. A sky blue and white hardtop with a V8 engine and a throttle start that you had to push in and pull out just right or she'd flood. Bessie's frame featured chrome portholes, sexy tail fins, and round headlamps that protruded like Betty Boop's